how many countries so far, if I may ask?
You've been to more than me.
I think I worked it out the other. 29. I've been to
29 countries.
Yeah, and Candy.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
20,
That's great. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. You?
About 24.
24, 25.
Yeah.
Okay, you need some catching up to do.
Do.
I won't even say what catching up I have to do, but among all the countries that you visited, top 3 favorite countries.
Ooh, that's really hard. I want to say, I'm going to say something so controversial.
No. Say
Is
it.
it okay? Please don't
Say
hate
it.
me.
Say it.
Oh my God. Oh gosh, I'm going to say it. Whew, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Israel because it took my mind and everything that I had learned, all my preconceived ideas, and it blew my brain.
Yeah.
And the reason it did that is because I so believed that what the media told me, like the USA told me. I was listening to USA News, and they said a lot of negative things about Muslims, right?
Yeah.
So I always believed that everyone who was Arab is Muslim and everyone who's Muslim is a terrorist. I went to Israel and I was like, no, that's not true. Not true at all.
Because that's all we see.
Because that's what we like about travel so much, is it just like you actually hear bad things about a place, and then you go to a place and you're like,
what?
Yeah.
And I learned that actually Arabs are probably one of the most oppressed people groups in the world, and that is something that should be spoken about more. And yeah, I support. I'm not going to say who I support. I think people will know who I support now.
I mean, no. It's and that's why the podcast is so important, for people to share their experiences, and also, of course, for you touching on that. Like, do you think somebody like me, being black, I would have the same experiences as you if I travel to the same countries you've traveled?
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be super blunt. We definitely don't get harassed at borders as much as black people would. Are we?
Yeah. So I'll tell you the example.
They'll search me on everything.
Yeah, I was traveling
and it's not fair.
I don't know where I was traveling. I was traveling from Kuala Lumpur back to Laos through Thailand.
Yeah.
And I met this lady. I sat next to her, and she was wearing traditional African attire, and I was like, this. And I'm from South Africa, so I knew that this lady must be quite important, because she wouldn't just be wearing her attire for fun, unless she's a model or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I know that dignitaries and stuff.
It's symbolic, can be.
So I started chatting to her, and I was like, so where are you from? And she's like, I'm a part of, I work for the Ghanaian government, and I'm in the ministry. And she's so lovely. She's probably about the age of my mom. And I was chatting to her, and we walked through the border. And as we get into the line for customs, like 2 police officers come up to her. Yeah. And they said to her, are you from Africa? You need to come with us. Yeah. And I said, I'm from Africa also. And they didn't even look at me twice. They just looked and then went down. And then she's
stop playing.
And this lady, and she's like the age of my mom, and she's like, don't worry, this happens all the time. And I was like, I almost cried. I felt so sad, like that. I was like, because this could be my mom, like getting every
harassed.
border that they enter, they get harassed. Like, it's so intense.
The first time I admitted white privilege was about 2 years ago to he's my best friend who's black and gay, and I was like, well, it's true, I'm privileged because I'm my skin color. And he's like, thank you so much for admitting it. Like, there's so many people that walk around that they are too guilty and ashamed to admit something like this, but we've got to admit it and acknowledge it so that we can talk about it, sort it out.
It's so important, and that's why I'm always saying, like, it's even not even to do with just race or racism. Like, even in anything in life, at times it's just like the littlest things. Like, there's this saying that goes, privilege is blind to those who have it.
Absolutely. That is so
at times
good.
you might try and explain to somebody and they'd be like, come on, what do you mean? But you can't see it.
Yeah, it's so good.
You can't see it because it's not something you can relate to.
I think, I know.
But for you to identify and know what people are talking about, that's also like very important.
And the big thing is, it's not like you're saying, okay, I'm privileged and just walk around with your head up high. You're privileged. How are you going to use your privilege to help others that aren't? Like, how are you going to use your privilege? Like, that's the best thing, because privilege isn't something you can just take away.
Exactly.
You're gonna have it. But how are you going to use that to better society?
And I think that's why even on TikTok, like when you go to a different country, it's easy for people to adapt and say like, hey, I like these videos because there's just something different about them, and people can actually feel warm when they're watching those videos.
Just reminds me we get some comments from people being like, oh, these American tourists. And I'm like, oh, I'm not even going to reply to
that. Because I think that's like one of the most offensive things you can say to us.
But I think that's the thing about TikTok. And people don't get banned, but people on TikTok are rude, extremely rude.
As real,
like even on YouTube, it's not like it's rude on TikTok.
As real as your videos are, is as real as the comments are.
That's true. That's definitely true.